are on a budget, Grace.
All right.
This is going to take a minute. This person wrote an essay that's quite good, but it's not one you can pull things out of, and it tells a story. How do you measure a teacher's effectiveness in their classroom? This question is currently being asked by all manner of politicians and pundits from Washington State to Washington, D.C. Ask 100 people, and you will likely get 100 different answers. Many will tell you the only way to measure a teacher's effectiveness is by their students' achievement on high-stakes tests like the MSP. As a special education teacher, this sort of measure is particularly scary for me. How can my students be expected to meet the standard on a 6th or 7th grade assessment when they're functioning at a 3rd or 4th grade level? However, if you look at the data from OSPI, my students made AYP in both math and reading. If that is how you measure effectiveness, then the state would say I'm a good teacher. In order to combat the inherent unfairness of grading students such as mine on grade level standards, others will tell you that I should be judged effective based upon the growth of my students from September to June. Lucky for me, I am a data junkie, and I'm constantly assessing my students' growth. If you look at my students' growth in math skills last year, they grew an average of 1 grade level equivalency in 9 months. 2 students even grew 1.8 exclamation point. If you judge my effectiveness that way, I must be super effective. Neither of these measures feels the right way to truly measure my effectiveness, though. I didn't become a teacher so I could be judged simply on a test score and grade equivalencies. I want to make a difference in my students' lives. How can one judge their effectiveness in that arena? I think I have an idea. I have one particular student with an emotional behavioral disability who started this year off rather rough. He was not behaving in any of his classes, refusing to do any classwork, and in general being as disruptive as possible. After completing a functional behavioral assessment, my teaching partner and I realized that the function of this student's behavior was to get attention, any attention, from adults. Positive adult attention does not happen for this student at home, so he acted out to get attention any way he could. Negative valuable to him as a positive attention is to a student without this kind of disability. Once we realized what was motivating him, my teaching partner and I decided to create an incentive, offering to buy him lunch when he received 5 consecutive positively rated days from at least 6 out of 7 teachers. He could choose the restaurant for lunch, and the 3 of us would eat lunch together in my classroom, therefore giving him the positive adult attention he so desperately needed and craved. This incentive worked almost immediately. He was consistently having his teacher sign his tracking sheet, and he was earning high scores because he was not nearly as disruptive through the educational process. First time he earned his lunch, he told us he would like a Big Mac meal from McDonald's. We bought it gladly and had a pleasant lunch together. As we were eating, he noted that I brought my own lunch. I told him since I was working to lose weight, and you wrote this, I didn't outdo you. There wasn't anything I could eat at McDonald's. The next time he made his goal, I asked him what he wanted for lunch. He responded very nonchalantly, Mrs. Tiegs, are you still on your diet? I told him that I was. He then asked, so is there anything at Subway that you could eat on your diet? I told him that I could have a salad from Subway. He started to walk away from me and said over his shoulder, okay, I think I'd like lunch from Subway instead of McDonald's today. That day, I knew I was making a difference in a student's life. This child who was behaviorally disabled, to the point he wasn't able to maintain his behavior in class at the beginning of the school year, had made a choice based on putting the needs of someone else first. He showed empathy. Isn't that a demonstration of my effectiveness? If that's not, I'm not sure what is. This year's Teacher of the Year, Michelle Tiegs. This says the essence of success. Success is the person who's lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who has gained the respect of children, who leaves the world better than they found it, who has never lacked appreciation for the earth's beauty, who never fails to look for the best in others, or give the best of themselves.
The diet worked. I've lost 100 pounds.
Okay. Congratulations. And finally,